You know, I enjoy kind of hanging out with y'all. I was kind of hoping John would be here too. Man, I've known John for a long period of time. He's been, seemed like, man, just think, you can see how freaking old I am. I mean, I think he started reporting my teams when I was in high school. So he's been an awful lot to our business, and he does a great job. He will definitely be missed, and that's awesome, Marty. We kind of honor him, you know, up there. So every time you come up in the press box, you get a chance to kind of thank him. But for us, there's a lot going on for us this week. Our all-season program right now. The only thing we've been able to do is meetings and strength and conditioning, lifting and running. So it was good to finally get out there on the football field. It's kind of tempting to jump into training camp mode right away when you put a helmet on, but we are easing into it. We're just excited that, when workouts are voluntary in all season and guys show up each day to get better, it's pretty special. We have a lot of work to do, but it was good. Good for some of our new coaches to get out there for the first time. I had my cheat sheet for the first time out there, getting the numbers down for all of the guys. And, for me to get a chance to, I don't know the offensive players as well as I know some of the defensive players. So a lot of good stuff going on out there today. Also, there was some good teaching going on. So we have that going on and improving our, the veteran crew of our team. And also excited about the draft coming up. So we have going to flip into that draft mode a little bit. Feel like we're prepared. We have a lot of great options. No matter where we pick. Take your question.
Lovie, you mentioned about how y'all couldn't get better or play the kind of football you wanted to get better at cornerback after Steven Nelson. How much better are you there, and are y'all where you need to be with that position now?
We're always, no matter who we have on our team, we're going to always try to improve. So that'll always be the case. We're better with Steve out there. I mean, he's proven. I mean, he's been a good football player in the league for a while. I thought he fit the profile that we're looking for. When we brought him in, got a chance to spend time with him, talk to him, check out his football knowledge. All of that says, this is it could be a good marriage. And so it was good to see him out there for the first time, but we're better at the cornerback position now.
Lovie, whether it's through the draft or through the undrafted free agent process, how important do you think it is to add another quarterback to your roster?
Another
quarterback to your roster.
Quarterback to our roster. Well, as a general rule, I guess you can have 4. Some teams have 4. I think once you have 3 quarterbacks on your roster, you should feel pretty good about that, and we do. We keep all options open, but we feel good about our quarterback room right now. Leading off with Davis Mills. I've talked about him and our feeling about who our leader would be.
Lovie, with the draft coming up, think about the pass rushers you have on your team and the pass rushers they have in the draft. Do you feel like that's a good position where there are layers and layers of rushers, and do you feel like that might be a position you would want to look at in the draft? Thank you.
I'm not trying to run away from your question, but I think the draft is pretty deep at most positions as you talk about it. Defensively, yes. It doesn't matter who we have on our team. We're always looking for rushers. You cannot have enough good defensive linemen. There are a lot of good defensive linemen, inside defensive linemen, and guys on the outside that know how to rush. It's kind of simple as that. And not at that position. There are linebackers we love. There are DBs that we love. And I think the draft, after it's all said and done, would say that.
Lovie, you've talked a little bit about how you think you and Nick are on the same page regarding personnel and the draft. At what point in your career did you realize maybe how involved the head coach needed to be in the draft and the personnel acquiring process? And what was it that made you think, like, okay, I need to make sure I'm more involved in this?
I think right away. I became a head coach in NFL in 2004. I was involved then. Had a great working relationship with Jerry Angelo in Chicago. He's a football guy. We're on the same page with how, we have a profile at every position. So very involved then. very involved with Nick. Now I get a chance to be around another good football guy and we see eye to eye. Again, of course, I was here last year, so we got a chance to, to really analyze exactly the type of athletes we were playing with then. So that transition has been a lot smoother.
Lovie, when you just kind of go look back, and there's been the saying, you win within the trenches. You've seen a lot of great defensive players over years, but when you're scouting offensive linemen, what are some traits that you look for, and what are some intangibles that you need to have on your roster? Thank you.
Well, you're right. I've seen a lot of the good defensive guys, but I've seen a lot of the good offensive players too. My time up north, I had Olin Kreutz as one of the all-time, to me, the centers that played the game tough and what you want to be. Got a chance to see him every day, how he prepared through the week, how he played. So I know how important that is on both sides. It is about the trenches on both sides. In order for us to have success, we've got to play good defensively, but it starts, the score, a lot easier to probably score on the offensive side, even though we defensively, our goal is to score too. It starts up front. And that's why a guy like Justin Britt is so important, and the rest of our offensive linemen. I mean, we have a few high, draft picks on our offensive line, but you can never have enough, and in order to have success, we need to be good there.
Lovie, kind of back to the defensive players, and with your scheme, you being the defensive coordinator, when you're evaluating the prospects, how much are you balancing the fit in your specific scheme versus just the talent of the player, and maybe you as the coach and as a staff having to decide if hey maybe this player might look different in our scheme, or we might have to adjust our coach, and like how do you balance that when you're evaluating a player?
Well, I don't think you have to adjust your coaching an awful lot. I think no matter what the scheme that you're playing, you want a guy with a whole lot of skill. Simple as that. Now, I know it's, there's kind of perception that we would like to have 11 defensively. We like to have 11 athletes on the field that can run. Some things are important. Guys that can jump high, that can run fast, that are tough and physical. And I think our scheme is flexible enough to, if you're a good athlete and you like to play ball, I think you can fit in it and have a lot of success. But I just don't think, the athletes we're kind of looking for, I think they'll fit in with what we do and what most people do.
You've mentioned that this is not your first rodeo when it comes to draft night. So what are you looking for, whoever they choose to draft, kind of the intangibles when these guys walk through the door? What do you want as a coach to see?
Well, I think when you're – all right, I'm told we have the third pick.
Third and 13th.
Third and 13th. By having that, you expect an impact player. No matter, what position, you're expecting an impact player. With the 13th pick also, last year went third round or something like that. Whenever you draft this high, you're expecting, and just not we're talking about the first round, but others. We have a lot of picks, 7 and top 109 or something like that. We're expecting guys to come in. Most of the players that we drafted last year, lower round guys, came in and had an impact. So we're expecting whoever we bring in to mix in well with a solid core of athletes that we have right now.
Looking along those lines, the guys, the second year, are you seeing kind of what you hoped for? Obviously early in the spring, but the Nico Collins, the Brevin Jordans, Davis, Roy, all those guys that you were able to draft a year ago.
Yes, all the guys you talked about, first step to getting better is to show up for voluntary work in an off season. Our draft picks they've been here throughout. Some of them seem like they never left. They just went. We changed, what we were calling it, 21 season, the 22 off season, and they never left the building, knowing that, normally, you can make a lot of gains from year 1 to 2. Those guys realize that. So that last class did some good things, and they're going to be a lot better this year.
Coach, you talked about, how this team was able to go out there and draft the guys and bring them in the 2021 draft class. That draft was a little bit, the picks that they had wasn't the best. So when you take a look at where this team is standing right now in the first round with two picks, is there more of a sense of urgency to try to replicate that same success?
Oh, absolutely. We're, again, as we said, we like what we did last year, but we have higher picks this year, and we're expecting to add impact players from this draft. I think there are a lot of impact players from this draft, and that's why the excitement. I know, our phase, our fans are pretty excited about the draft coming up. We are too, and we know that we're going to get some good football players that we're going to add.
Along those lines, you mentioned you expect to get impact players at those positions. At those slots. Nick Caserio hasn't been shy about having those picks being open for business and trades, and he has a history of that. He said you were open-minded with him on those kind of conversations. If trade backs happen or picks, don't land a player, what has been your conversation about that and potentially building up picks in maybe even future years instead?
Well, you're right. It's important for our future, but it's about now with what we're doing. We talked about what picks, 3, 13, and others that we have, and that just says that everything's on the table, though. Yeah, moving back's on the table. Everything is on the table as we go. That's what, when you're getting ready for a draft, you look at all possibilities is what you do, and that's what we've done. So, just think, there's a lot of time we've analyzed everything. I just think this is what, we asked, I think we were talking earlier about, it's not my first rodeo, but I can't remember where we had 2 first-round picks. So I know I like that position now. Didn't like it an awful lot last year. Maybe we were losing some games, but I know we like it right now. And, again, we're expecting to get impact players.
Lovie, when you look at how schemes are now in college and how players sometimes can transition to play either guard or tackle or safety or cornerback, does the versatility factor go into your decision of the type of players that you want inside your locker room?
Yes, I would definitely say so. Titus Howard, he can play tackle, he can play guard. The more things you can do, absolutely, the more valuable you are to us and just your stock in general. And I think if you have your profile right, and you picking in big athletes, small athletes, guys with a certain skill set, they can do more than one thing. So that's definitely the case.
Last one for Brandon.
Is Titus going to play right tackle, or is that something y'all still trying to figure out?
I probably shouldn't even brought that up. That was probably wasn't a good move. It's the good part about the offseason. First off, you have a player that's a team guy. That doesn't matter, like Titus. What do I need? Our conversation, what do I need to play to help the football team? We have 2 outstanding coaches that have been doing it a long period of time. We're a great coordinator. We'll figure that all out. I'll just tell you he's going to be on the field somewhere. And excited about the year. Guys working hard. You talk about those big athletes. He's a big athlete. We want as many. If we had 5 guys like that, we'd be pretty happy. We like this. If this is a problem, we like that problem that we have.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Hold on her.
Good move. Desmond, to get out on the field with the guys after lifting weights and doing things on your own for some of the off season, what was that like? And what's it like for you to be back, having signed a new contract? Thank you.
It felt good, being back on the field, with a group of guys that, I'm familiar with and seeing new faces as well. Just, welcoming the new guys in on both sides of the team. And, and it's also, it's a blessing to be back here, with the team again, not having to go through that process again, finally somewhere settled down, familiar with the organization, familiar with the playbook, familiar with the team, coaches, and everyone in the building. So, it just all around just felt great today being out there.
Desmond, what kind of went into your decision to come back to Houston? And then also, what does it mean to have Lovie still be on staff as your head coach, but also Dino staying on staff as cornerbacks coach?
Just having that, I would say that confidence and that trust in the team. I believe, that we definitely had, a good team last year. It didn't show, by the record, but, me being on the field, I could feel that playing with those guys, like they were willing to fight, willing to play hard, willing to, go out there and win each and every week. So that based my decision on coming back here, and then seeing Coach Lovie becoming the head coach. It showed like a bright spot of our team that, he was our D coordinator. So, knowing that, he's going to try and revamp this team and kind of lead it in the right way and take us somewhere where we need to be.
What were some of the improvements that you saw throughout the year that kind of encouraged you for a time like this when y'all in the early part of the offseason, some of the stuff that y'all can build on right now before the season starts?
Can you repeat that?
Some of the things last year that
okay.
you guys improved on that encouraged you coming back in the second year that you feel like y'all could build on?
I would just say, like, being resilient. There were times where we were down in games and then we fought back. There were games where people were saying, that we couldn't do this, can't do that, and then we go out there and, show them different. So, like I said, I felt like, we had that confidence, but our record just didn't show. So, knowing that, we bring in some of these guys back that we had last year, plus the new faces, we're building it in the right direction. So, just knowing that we got something special definitely coming up this year.
Lovie Smith told us a couple weeks ago that the team couldn't play the kind of football it needed unless they got the play they wanted out of cornerback. What kind of challenges has he given you in the group, and where do you need to go, and where does the group need to go to improve there?
Just playing, three things that, he talked about today was, just playing smart, playing tough, and playing physical. And I think that's three things that, Coach Lovie actually, like, those are his statements. Like, that is what he believes in, is playing tough, smart, and physical. So that's what he want, especially on his defensive side, but all around as a team collectively.
Desmond, you talked about revamping this team and the team moving forward in the right direction. What's the mood of the locker room as you guys realize you have an opportunity to bring some premium talent this year?
Locker room, I feel like the energy there right now is in a positive way. Like I said, we got new faces in the building as well, so we're just trying to, build that relationship as a family and not just as a team, because that's how your play is going to be better on the field, is as long as you all believe in each other as, brothers. You go out there, you trust one another, and I think that's what's going to make everything turn around.
What was your assessment of your own play? I know, like, you play a lot of nickel, but you ended up playing outside last year. Do you have a sense for – I imagine you're willing to do whatever they ask you to do, but do you have a sense for what your role is going to be, where you'll be playing, and do you have maybe even a preference of where you feel most comfortable?
Wherever they need me at is where I'm going to contribute. That's how I go.
What about last year, making that adjustment? How do you feel like you handled it?
I felt like I handled it, the right way. We wanted to, get, like he said, get guys on the field that is tough, that's going to play smart and create turnovers. So he wanted to get more guys on the field like that, and I think that's where Tavier came in. We got another tough guy that's willing to go and, create turnovers. So, making that move to corner, it just added us more. It added more, I'll say, value, to our players on the team, knowing that we can move around and play different positions. So, like I said, I think I handled that position well.
Desmond, as one of the guys re-signed here, you part of the core of what this franchise is moving toward. New picks are going to be brought in. What is what is it that they're walking into? What do you expect out of the players that are going to come in, especially from round one?
I feel like, the culture that we want to build here right now is, come in here, do your job, be willing to play hard and win. You got to want to win. And I think that's, Coach Lovie's number one rule. You got to want to win. And so when you get here, just be prepared, love football, and just come win.
Desmond, you talked about the potential that this team had last year. What do you think actually went wrong for you guys?
Honestly, it's really nothing that I could honestly pick out. It showed from the record. That's what I say. It was the record that showed that, just me being on the field with those guys, it felt different. Like, I felt like, that shouldn't have been our record because we went out there each and every day and competed. So I just felt like, our record just didn't show what our capability was. And that's why I said I feel like we have something special going into this year.
Desmond, Nick doesn't like using the phrase rebuild, so he says phases instead. When you look at the draft and the players that you're potentially adding in this year, what are the type of players that you want to see come into this locker room in the second phase of this next step?
For me, I want to see guys come in here hungry. Those are the type of guys I want around me. Guys just want to go out there, compete against each other, hungry. And like I said, be willing to win. Like, that's the number one rule of playing this game. You got to want to win. So, that's all I know.
Last one, Brooke.
You mentioned they got to want to win.
Yeah.
How did you, through last year, maintain that, and what did you learn kind of about that and what that means to this team in particular?
I'll just say me personally, it's just, what I was raised off of. I've been through a lot, you know what I'm saying? And that's just adversity. So that's fighting, that's knowing how to fight through adversity and be resilient, because you're gonna be down. You can't want that for yourself. So, me, myself, I just felt like, I got to go out there, and if I want to win and if I want to lead the right way, I got to do it myself first instead of trying to make somebody else do it. You got to show it yourself first, and then other guys will take notice and do it.
All right. Thank you.
Desmond was just talking about you and was referencing the guys that he was able to work with last year and talking about you. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to have some of the camaraderie that you guys built, and obviously you've known him for a while, but to work together again and try to build on what you guys did last year defensively?
It's great to be back with a lot of the guys or whatnot. This is the first year that I'll be playing with the same defensive staff, defensive coordinator. Now he's the head coach, so it's a blessing just to not have to go through that situation again and changing everything around me. And I have always had to just continue grinding, learning new playbooks. And now I'm coming back in the same playbook and with some of the same guys. It's a blessing.
Thank you. How much will you pay attention to the draft on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
I really don't pay attention to that type of stuff. I just keep my head down, continue to work, and whoever I'm with, I'm just going to ball out and try to lead by example on the field.
In y'all's second year in the system with Lovie, you mentioned how that is nice to be around the same kind of people. Where are you kind of seeing picking up and how you're working in relation with each other in the secondary? Obviously you're out there now. Like, what more are you seeing that you understand each other and where you're progressing to?
Like most of us, like we're always together, like outside of the field, outside of the football field. So it's like we know each other now, like more. Like a lot of us, we on the game, either on the game with each other or out. We're at each other's house with each other's family. So we learn each other. We know what a person can do and what a person can't do, and we always got each other's back. So if we can continue going that route, we continue to get better on the field. If we doing it outside of the field, we'll do it on the field.
Coaches and teammates talk about how, like, you're the type of player they want to have, 10 guys out there on the field. Like, what's the next step for your game? Like, what kind of your own goals, personal goals, taking your game to the next level?
Just getting the ball more. Like, I have a lot of tackles or whatnot personally. I just want to be able to get the ball more, start punching the ball out more. That's going to be my focus this year, is getting the ball. So if I continue to get the ball and get the ball back to Davis, everybody know what he's capable of. So as long as we get him the ball, then we can score points.
Javier, when you look at last season finishing top 10 in takeaways and you keeping Lovie Smith's record alive of getting at least one at pick six, how important is it to have same players back in the same system to be able to develop and build off that connection?
That's very important because we know what he wants, and if we continue to do it on the practice field, no matter who we bring in the draft or what new guys we got coming here, they're going to know that that's what he wants. And as long as we continue to do it on the field and off the field, like, just got to continue just going with what he wants, and that's what he wants, and that's what we're going to continue to preach and going to continue to do on the field, and everybody else going to just buy into it, because if you ain't trying to take the ball away, I know Lovie don't even going to want you around. So.
Des was saying that the three things Lovie's always looking for in corners is tough, smart, physical. What are the things that means, and how does that play out kind of in what y'all try to do defensively?
We play a lot of cover too, so if you ain't tough and don't want to tackle, he's not gonna play you anyway. So he's not gonna play you. So you gotta wanna be out there and wanna win. Like Dad said, you gotta wanna win. And if you're not a tough guy and not smart, then that's not in a winning recipe. So if you just continue to do the things that he's telling us, because he's been doing it for years and years and years. We know how long he's been doing it. So that's what I bought into him. Like, it's nothing he can tell me on the field or off the field that I'm not going to listen to. So I feel like if everybody buy into that with how he wants us, then we're going to win a lot of football games, because he done showed it multiple years that that's what he does.
It's who knows who exactly they'll pick coming up, but if they add another defensive back into the room, corner, safety, something, how does that enter into the mix? Does that feel like there's competition? How would y'all react to that?
I go in thinking it's competition every day, like with all the guys. So whoever they bring in, I'm just, like I said, I'm going to keep my head down, play how I play, listen to Lovie Smith, and the sky's the limit.
Thank you.
Bye.
Moved around a little bit your first few years in the league, and you talked to us about being willing to do whatever they asked you to do. How do you feel after your first, couple of weeks here? What do you feel like is the direction it's going in? You feel like you're going to try to compete for tackle again, or you expect to be moved around again?
I feel pretty good these first couple of weeks. We've been getting in some workouts and stuff like that, and everybody's getting back in football shape. I feel pretty good out there today. As far as position-wise, I'm really just going to be playing wherever the team deems me the most valuable, whether it's guard or tackle. I've been working out all season to become a better player in both, so I feel pretty comfortable playing both.
Titus, you were back at your college to be honored as their highest draft pick ever. What was that like for you to be back there? And now with the draft a couple days from now, do you reminisce a little bit thinking about that moment when you first joined the team and were picked at that spot?
Oh, yeah, it felt pretty good to be back. So I got a chance to go back to college when I was a freshman. Like I was telling guys, when I came in as a walk-on, we would always look at all the NFL draft picks, and so there was had a mural on the wall and stuff like that. And I always told myself one day that I wanted to be there. So they called me and said, "Hey, Titus, we got a surprise for you. We need you here for the spring game. And when I came down, they surprised me, with the mural on the wall, and it was like just such a huge accomplishment. It was just good to go back and kind of like give back my knowledge since my experience has been in the NFL to some of the players. They had recruits come in. I got a chance to speak to a couple hundred players coming out of high school. So just going back and let guys know that, it really don't matter where you go, where you come from. If you put the work in, you be consistent. The sky's the limit for you guys. So, it felt good to go back.
Guys, what are your memories of getting drafted in the first round, and what will it be like? Will you watch the draft this year and bring back memories of that time as well?
Yes, sir. I'll definitely be watching the draft. It felt good. I was thinking Georgia at the time of the draft. I remember my family. I had probably 25 people from my family together with me because I didn't go to the draft. My agent, we all just had like a pretty good get together. I'm just sitting down with family, having a good time, and I just got the phone call. Hey, Titus, we're gonna take you with the 23rd pick, and I went down to tears because it's like one of the most memorable, exciting times in my life, and I'm completely grateful for the Texans giving me a chance to come here and play professional football because you're getting paid to play a game that honestly I would play for free. Not saying I will play for free, but let me put that out there. But I love football, so I don't play it sometimes because of money. But I play it because I love the game, and it's been pretty good. So I always like to watch it because I like to see the reactions of the guys, see their families, the moms, the dad who spent all their time, raising them the right way to see their kids, take a step forward to. Get money and stuff to change the whole generation. So, it's always a blessing for that to happen. So I like watching the draft.
Titus, as a former HBCU player, how great has it been just to see the amount of prospects coming from HBCUs to finally get a chance, especially considering that last year not one player was drafted from an HBCU school?
Yeah, it's been pretty good because I honestly think it might be a couple HBCU players drafted this year. Because there's a lot of good prospects, like the guys from Jackson State, got a guy from FAMU, a guy from the corner from South Carolina State. So, I think it's only going to get better because not just point Deion Sanders out, but the mentality and the standard he set at Jackson State, kind of it made the whole HBCU football and the SWAC, all of them take a step ahead. And I think it's a positive impact. Like at Alabama State, they just had a 4-star quarterback just commit to play there, and I don't think there's ever been a 4-star quarterback in the school history to come play there. So, I think it's a huge improvement, and I think HBCU football is only going to get better and better by the year.
So you are the last first-round pick the Texans have picked, and there's potentially 2 more that are coming. What will their experiences be walking in at that higher round, and what kind of player they expected to be, and leaning on kind of your experience being someone who was at that position?
I would tell them just come in, get as much knowledge as they can from the guys who like me, or the guys who already been here, and just be yourself, man. When I came here, I was getting a whole bunch of knowledge from all the guys who I was around, but I prided on being myself, and just learning from the older guys and trying to find a way to learn from them, but kind of create my own style of how I want to be, what type of player I want to be, and the things I want to go about. But like I said, it's a high expectation. When you come in here, you got to perform, especially as a first-round pick. So I'll just tell those guys, man, just come in, be themselves, stay focused. It's going to be a grind, but they're going to be okay.
I know there are a lot of differences between college and the NFL, but what was the biggest one when you look back on your rookie year? You're like, man, I did not expect that.
For me, it probably had to be the speed of the game and the knowledge. I was pretty smart because I had switched positions 3 times in college until I finally started playing offensive line. And I thought I was a know-it-all. I thought I knew a lot until I got to the NFL. I got in a classroom with guys who had already been in the NFL system. They knew so much more than me, so I had to get myself caught up pretty quick. But I think the knowledge of the game and the speed of the game are probably the 2 biggest things that would be different between college and NFL.
Last 2.
Titus, what's the biggest change that you're expecting with Pep as the offensive coordinator, and obviously them bringing in George Warhop as your new offensive line coach? Like, as far as it pertains to your job, whether it's guard or tackle, how do you expect the offensive line to work differently?
I think the mentality of the offensive line with Coach George Warhop are going to be way more physical. Nothing against our past coach, but I think we're going to be pretty physical up front. And I think with Pep, his offense, we pride on being able to run the football. So we didn't run the football good last year. So I look forward to being able to run the ball real good every game.
That's wonderful.
Titus, when you were in college, you switched positions a lot, and then here you've also played multiple positions. When you look at the versatility factor of players in the offensive line, it can be athletic or a little bit bigger, especially in run or power formations. What does that do for your offense, and what does that do for pass protection?
I think if you're versatile, I think it just gives the coaches like more of a leeway to certain players they might want to bring in or certain plays they want to run. I think me being versatile the way I am, being able to put me at guard or tackle, I think it just helps the team in general, and it helps me because I get a chance to know all the plays and what everyone has to do. So it only makes me play faster when I'm out there.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you.